Hi, welcome to your morning yin practice, or for any time of the day that you need a bit more of an uplifting, invigorating, deep work into your connective tissues. So before we get started, if you have any blocks or yoga props like bolsters, that'd be great, but you can also use like a firm cushion or a couple of firm cushions. So just have those at hand. And if you're someone that might need a strap, if you're a bit limited in some flexibility, maybe have a strap as well at hand. So let's just get a little bit of breath into the body to begin with. We're going to start just using the fingertips, just tapping into the center of the chest. The thymus gland is here, so let's breathe in, breath out. Breath in through the nose, out through the mouth this time. One more. Let's tap around the bottom of one side of the chest, of the lungs. Breath in. You can get a bit of effort behind the fingertips here. Breath in. Breath out. Other side. Just clearing out any stale air in the lungs here. Breath in. Breath out. And just to the top of the chest. One more. You might feel a little tingling in your fingertips at this point. We're going to come to lie down on your mat on your left side. Okay, so just with your left arm above the head, or you can bend at the elbow and use your arm as a pillow. Your legs are straight and stacked. Just have your right hand in front of the chest here. And let's just rock the body a little bit here. I'm just waking up the side of the body. And just notice what your body's holding. Is there some tenderness maybe in the side of the body? So we're going to bring this right knee up, your top knee, bend the knee, bring it up nice and high. And then your right hand is going to reach back for your left foot, for your bottom foot, okay? So you're taking the top of the foot. You want to reach into this shape as far as you can here. So you might reach down towards the shin and just press your foot into your hand a little here, drawing that right shoulder back. Breath in and then release. That'll just open up the shoulder, and we want to come into some tension through your left quadricep, okay? So anytime you want to reach a little more into it, feel free. So once you're in the shape, just start to let go into it here. Bring in some longer breaths. So our focus this morning is going to be the front lines of the body in terms of meridians. So these relate to the vitality of the spleen and the stomach. And the spleen filters the blood, supports your immune system. And the stomach, of course, supports our digestive system. So anytime you want to reach a little deeper in, reach in, and then just relax once more. And you can make it slightly active every now and then just by pressing that foot away into the hand, opening it up into it a little, and relaxing again. completely release and let go into it for a moment. Let's release that left foot. We're going to come over onto our bellies and up onto the elbows here. So set your elbows under the shoulders and just lift the chest. Drop the shoulders back. So here we're in Sphinx pose. So let's focus on relaxing through the feet, the legs, and the lower back. You can close your eyes at any time you like. And notice that breath in your belly at this point. And you're feeling some compression into your lower back. And if you don't quite feel enough, you can lift the chest a little higher, drop the shoulders back and down. Relax through the face. Now you're welcome to stay right here. If you want a little bit more juice, a back bend like this can be quite activating and energizing. We can take the hands wider, press the hands down, and start to straighten through the arms into seal pose. Now here, just be mindful about what you feel into your lower back. So if it's too much, you're going to come back down perhaps to where you were before. Breathing here. And using that awareness of breath to connect you into stillness. Just a few more breaths here. And slowly release down. You might like to just rest your head on the back of your hands for a moment. And maybe a little side to side in the hips. Just wriggle out any tension. Just pause for a moment. Maybe a longer breath. And then come to child's pose. So let's come to the knees, take them wide, toes together, hips to the feet, and reaching out. You might have just a little side to side of the hips. If you're feeling restricted in your hips, this might help them release a little bit of movement. And soften the shoulders and the arms. Just let your third eye rest to your mat. Allowing that heaviness into the knees and the hips. Each breath out, an invitation to fully let go, to surrender. Okay, we'll start to come up. And we're going to make our way to lie over on our right side now. So Let's create a nice long line with the right arm above the head or bend at the elbow. Let your head rest. We're going to bring the left knee up nice and high and onto the mat. We'll bend the right knee and reach back for the foot with the left hand. So you really want to reach into this shape. You might draw that right leg back a little more here as you reach into the shape to find some quadricep tension. Maybe take a deeper breath in. And let's resist. So press the foot into the hand, draw that left shoulder back. Just open up the chest and the shoulder. And release and maybe reach into it a little more. And when we're in the shape, to our furthest range of reach, let's let go. Just let go into it. Just softening here. And just aware of all the different areas in the body where we're creating space. So we have that tension in the quadricep. We're opening up the shoulder and the chest, the front of the body as well. Just gently press the foot away, draw that left shoulder back a little more, and release again. From here, let's release. And just to come to lie on your back for a moment here. And just come into this neutral rebound position for a moment. Well, take a long clearing breath in and maybe sigh the breath out. Let's reach the arms above the head, point through the toes and the fingers, and then bring the knees into the chest. You can bring your head up to your knees for a moment and hold. And come to one side. We'll start to come up. Okay, so coming up onto the knees. And from here, we're going to step the left foot forward to begin. Now, you could have blocks under your hands. If you don't have blocks, don't worry too much. You can also just have your hands on the mat. So we've got this left foot nice and wide here. So we've got the hands on the inside of the left foot, and we're just going to hinge the hips forward, lift the chest, and then we'll take it back. Let's hinge forward. And one more time. And then sinking the hips through here. So we really want to sink the bucket of the pelvis down nice and heavy, but the front of the body is nice and long and open here. Allowing those longer breaths to draw in here. Now, if it's feeling a little tight, we might just take a little bit of movement side to side just to help ease things up a little. And notice that heaviness into the pelvis and the hips. Let's just allow that lovely heaviness here. Now you're welcome to stay here if you're someone that wants to go deeper. Maybe this knee opens out like a wing out to the side. Maybe you come down to your forearms, or maybe bring your forearms to the mat or a block, and we're coming a little lower down. If you want an even more energizing practice, you could bend that right knee and reach back with the left hand for that right foot. So there's a few options here. So just take whichever variation suits where you're at in your body today. So again, there's a lot going on in this shape. The opening through the hip flexors, the groin, even into the quadricep again here. And try not to overly engage in the shape. So letting go into the structure of the shape as well. We'll just take a few more breaths. And releasing, slowly coming up. Again, let's just take the hips back, take a little counter stretch here. Might bring the hands under the shoulders. Just breathe into the stretch here for a moment. And then bring your left knee down next to the right knee. So before we come into the other side, we'll just take a short moment in recovery here. So we're going to bring the right forearm across the mat, bending at the elbow. Just reach your left arm out, bringing your head down to your arm or the mat. Keeping your hips over the knees, knees apart. Just into this quarter dog pose, just using it as a gentle recovery. But it's also opening up your chest and your shoulders here. Just take a few breaths here. Let's come back up onto the hands. So let's step the right foot through this time. And let's take that right foot wide so the hands are on the inside of the right foot. And again, let's hinge the hips down low and then take it back. So we're just easing into this. Breath in and breath out. Coming forward. And let's settle in and just let the hips sink nice and deep. Just drop the shoulders down, lift the heart, and the head just sitting on top of the shoulders. The shoulders are over the hips, and there's that heaviness coming into the hips here. Might close the eyes. Just anchor into the breath. Now again, if it's feeling a little tight and restricted, we can have a little bit of movement just a little, just to ease things. But we find our way back to stillness. And we're not in a rush to get into the deepest expression of this shape. You might just stay here. If you want to explore something a little juicier, maybe this knee kind of wings open to the side on the edge of that foot. You might even find yourself coming down to forearms. I'm going to bring my forearms onto the block here. But be mindful about collapsing out of the shape. You still want to keep the integrity of the shape into the groin, into the hip flexors. And the final piece of the puzzle, if it's there for you, this might be where you use a strap, is to bend that left knee and have the right hand reach back for the top of the foot or the shin, and drawing that foot in a little closer. Notice that breath and length and openness in the front of the body. Keep softness in the face. So the more that we can let go here, the deeper the release, that slow release, that is the magic of a yin practice, into these deeper tissues. Let's release, slowly start to come up and out of the pose. Again, just hinge back the hips. Take a little counter stretch here. Bring the hands under the shoulders and just straighten that right leg. Breathe into the hamstring. And we'll come into a short recovery pose, into our quarter dog again. Let's bend the left elbow, just bring it across the mat. Reach out the right arm above you, bringing your head down to your arm, just keeping your hips over your knees and letting your rib cage and your shoulders become heavy here. Beautiful for the posture, for opening up the chest and the shoulders. Let's come back up onto the hands. And take a gentle cat and cow into cow, and then arch through into cat. Just gentle releasing movements here. Might take it one more. Let's tuck under the toes here, okay? And press your hips back to your heels. So we get a toe stretch. Let's come forward again. Inhale. Once more, inhale. And exhale, press back. So we're getting some stimulation into the feet, into the toes. You might stay here. You can bring as much weight or pressure in as feels good to you. You might sit all the way back onto the heels here. We won't be here for too long, but it's certainly a good place to be to really bring us into the present. Sending that breath to the feet. Sending love to the feet that carry us through our day. We don't often perhaps give enough love to this part of our body. So send it there now. Let's come forward, back to the hands and the knees. And just let the feet float up, maybe circle the toes. Scrunch the toes a little here. Let's come to sit over on your left side. Okay? Sitting on your left hip with your legs folded out to the right here. So in this deer shape position. And from here, if it's there for you, can you tuck under the top of the right foot? Now don't worry if it's not, but if it is, great. So again, we're going to come into tension in the top of the right leg this time. So this is where something to sit on is going to come in handy. To lift up, let's bring a block or a cushion, some kind of prop under your left hip if you need it. It's going to take the pressure off your knees and your ankles to begin with. And I'm shifting then my hips over to the right a little and bringing the hands behind me here. Now I could also release this left foot up if I'd like to here as well. Or I could extend it out. There's also the option to have some props behind you at this point. So it's nice to maybe lift the chest a little. And we're not in a rush to get to that deepest place. But over time, we might start to come down if it's there for us. Maybe coming down to one forearm. Might be easy to come down to the left side first. Over time, it's up to you. You might even take your prop away. I'm going to keep it there for now. And if you had a prop behind you, a cushion or a pillow, you might even find yourself lying all the way back here. You do want to be mindful of the connective tissues around the knee. They can overextend and overstretch. So just really respect what you feel in your body. If you need to come out of a little, which I do, then just adjust as you need to here. Okay, if you've got a prop underneath you, we're just going to take it away. I'm just going to come over to the left side, lean over to the left so you can release that right leg out. And then just with the legs straight, just pause for a moment here, just the hands behind you. Longer breath. Let's even roll the shoulders back, lift the heart, breath in. Big breath out. So let's bend the knees at this point and have the feet about hip width apart. So from here, we're coming into a twist. We're going to set it up by coming into it a couple of times. So my knees are going to come over to the right, and I shift my hips to the left, and I turn to the right. I bring the hands behind me. I lift the chest nice and high. And then I'm going to take that again. Coming back to this first position. So knees come over to the right, the hips shift over to the left, and I turn and I'm sitting up nice and tall here. Now, you could have the option here of your props, which I'll just show you here. A prop here perhaps that you're lying down over the prop into your twist. But you can also do this without any props. You could also just come down onto your mat. And your head can turn right or left at this point. So just notice what feels good for the neck here. And just softening into the hips. Softening into this twist. And you'll notice that twist through the stomach channel. Giving a gentle stimulation to your digestive tract. Each breath out, just soften into the shoulders and the arms. Relax through the legs and the hips. So it should just feel like an easy twist in your spine. There shouldn't be any discomfort or pinching. If there is, you probably need to come out of the twist and then come back into it again. It's definitely would be more supportive if you find you're not very open in the twist to have something underneath you, one of your props. Softening into it even a little more. We'll come up onto the hands and we'll come back the way we came. We'll twist and let's lie back to reset at this point. Maybe tuck under the shoulders, palms face up. Maybe a long breath in. Maybe sigh it out. Just give our nervous system, the spine, a moment to reset here. Allow a few rounds of deeper breath in and out if you wish. From here, let's float up the legs and the arms into this dead bug shape. And just circle the wrists and the toes, getting into the ankle joint, the wrist joint. And then make circles with your feet and your hands. So you get into the knees and the elbows. Give yourself a hug again, and we'll come to one side and we'll start to come up. So let's head for our half saddle pose on the other side. So we're sitting over on your right hip this time, with your legs folded out to the left. So again, if we can we tuck under the top of the left foot, if you can, all right? For me, I definitely need a bit of support under my right hip. So that's going to take the pressure off my left knee and my left ankle, but I'm going to move my hips over to the left. So I'm coming into that tension down the top of the left leg here. Now I can keep the right leg as it is, or I could release it up. And I could extend it out here as well. You might have something behind you as well here. So remember just to take your time, don't rush into it. And just finding that breath here. Gradually over time, we might start to make our way back. Maybe just down to your right elbow. And just feeling that breath through that openness in the front of your body. And you might even find yourself coming all the way back, perhaps. Maybe not, just to show you where that can go. You might find yourself coming all the way back. But being mindful of the connective tissues around the top of the knee, listening into your body. And just take a couple more breaths here. Letting go through the legs and the hips. So to come out of this, wherever you are in the shape, you probably could take your proper way. You're going to roll over to the right side so you can release your left leg out. So the legs are straight. You can take a moment just to pause here. Just finding a longer breath. Let's take one more lifting breath in and release. Then let's bend the knees. Have the feet about hip width apart here. And you may or may not have your props here because we're coming into the twist, but we're going to set it up a few times. So the knees come to the left and your hips shift to the right. And you turn your upper body all the way around to the left. So you plant both hands and lift the chest nice and tall. And then let's come back out of it. And come back into it again. Knees to the left, hips to the right. Fully twist the upper body. We want to get as much of the upper body coming down to your mat or your prop as possible here. So here we are, the head can turn left or right, just depending on what you're feeling in the spine. Just an easy twist. So if you notice that your body is in a lot of tension, it's a sign that you might need to change things. You might need to ease up the twist a little. You could always come out of it and come back into it again. And always support your body as you need to with the props that you have. Just letting the shoulders, the arms relax. Just breathing into that twist in the belly. Soften into your hips and your legs. There's so many degrees to letting go. The longer we stay here, the more we can find there's yet another layer of letting go that reveals itself. Allowing that openness, that freedom in your body. Just a few more breaths here. We'll bring the hands maybe under the shoulders. We'll slowly come up, come back the way we came. And again, just reset by lying back. Give the body a little shake out. If you need to take a longer breath, take a longer breath. Just bringing ourselves back into a neutral alignment. All right, so from here, we're going to bend the knees, bring the feet in. Now there's an option here to lift the hips and bring something under your hips. A couple of cushions or a bolster, whatever you have, and just find it resting supportively under your hips, your lower back. And we'll bring the knees up and the feet up to the sky. And we're not going to hold the feet today with the arms. The arms might even release overhead. So into this happy baby shape. So the support under the hips, giving you a little extra tilt in the pelvis. The knees wide. Staying with the breath. Allow that heaviness into your legs, into your knees, soft through the face. Taking about another minute here. Just breathing in the way that you need to breathe to support yourself here. From here, we're going to slowly just take the legs up into floating legs. So the feet just slightly apart over the hips. Just feel like the legs are floating here. And it's allowing for a lymphatic drainage down the back of the legs. Just notice the sensations here. Maybe a tingling, vibration in the legs. And just a few more breaths here. Bending the knees, slowly the feet descend. All the way down to the mat, and lift your hips, just push your props maybe under your knees or take them away, and come into your Shavasana at this point. Again, just wriggle out any remaining tension. And let's just soften now. Let the breathing go. Soften through the face. The space behind the eyes feels heavy. And just loosen your jaw. Maybe let the mouth open a little. Relax the throat and the neck. Soft in the shoulders and the heart. Letting go through the belly and the hips. Notice any sensations in the legs. Release through the knees, the ankles, feet. Notice any sensations in the hands, in the fingers. complete softness in the hands and the arms. And our practice is always an expression of kindness towards ourselves, of nurturing. And we'll take the time just to listen into a couple of affirmations here. May I be safe. May I be safe. Maybe sending that message out into the universe, letting it sink in to the openness you've created at this point. May I be healthy in mind, in body. And now send it out there into the ether. May I be healthy. May I be happy. Day to day, may I have moments of joy and contentment. May I be happy. May I live with ease. As I go through my day, may I live without struggle. May I live with ease. I'd like to bring your hands onto your body, left hand to your heart, right hand to your belly. Notice the rise and fall of your breath here. Connecting you into two of the major energy centers. You can take a long, full breath in. Maybe sigh it out. Might take a stretch, a slow, long stretch, point through the toes and the fingers. And then we'll come to rest on one side. You might keep your eyes closed as you find your way up to a seat. Just spending a few moments more here in a seated position. Slowly coming back towards your day. Noticing the quality of your awareness at this point. The tone that you've set for yourself. You might bring a little smile, maybe bring the hands to the heart. In gratitude for arriving at this moment. Thank you and namaste.